Alright, hello. I am with Adam Allen once again. Adam, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Since the last time we talked, Florida's played the first two games of the NCAA tournament, and we'll start with the first game they played against Northwestern State. They got into a bit of a battle with them in the first half, and now their defense, which has been very stout all year, was getting burned quite a bit. They hadn't seen an offense quite like they saw against the Demons all year. Do you think that was what led to the giving up a lot of points early on?
Yeah, I think in that first game, the NCAA tournament, both teams are going to come out, playing hard, but they got that first game jitters. But Northwestern State had the number one offense in the country. They like to get up and down, play at a fast pace. And at the beginning of the game, it was hard to get adjusted to. But once we made that adjustment, we took care of it.
We did, and the second half, Florida completely shut Northwestern State down. And on the other side of the ball, Florida's offense just continued to roll. This is the exact opposite of what we saw so many times this year. Florida just keeps on plugging away at the same pace and doesn't get fatigued while the other team starts to fade. Now, how good did it feel to finally see the tables get turned in the NCAA tournament?
It feels good. I mean, this is what you prepared for all year. These guys have been working hard all season with strength and conditioning. I know Preston does a really good job with them to get them ready for this time of year. It feels good to get that first W and come out and play basketball like the way we can.
The Minnesota game was strange in a way. It had some inverse qualities to both the Northwestern State game and the regular season. Florida blew past the Gophers in the first half, only to fall apart and let the lead get trimmed down to 7. When you saw the Golden Gophers slice a 21-point halftime lead all the way down to 7, how nervous were you?
Definitely a little bit nervous at that point in the game. Minnesota made a really good run. Andre Hollins, we couldn't stop him there for a while. But once we locked in and made an adjustment there, we halted that run and ended up playing good ball the rest of that half.
Right, and in that Minnesota game, unlike many of the Florida losses this season, Florida fought off the comeback in crunch time. For everything Minnesota did, Florida had a really strong answer. How relieved were you to see this, and how much more confident are you now in Florida's ability to win a close game?
Yeah, it's pretty relieving to win a close game, especially getting in a big game like that in the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't say that I'm more confident in our ability to win close games. I think we've been able to do it all year. We've just been in tough situations and haven't hit shots in the right situations. I think that in any game, when it comes down the stretch, the guys have the right mindset, come focused, and are prepared to do what they need to do, then we should come out on top.
Florida faces Florida Gulf Coast in the next game, and it's no longer a secret. The Eagles are the first 15 seed to ever make the Sweet 16. This means pretty much everybody who's not an outright Gator fan is going to be cheering for Florida Gulf Coast. We'll get to the logistics of the game in a minute, but first, Florida Gulf Coast has spent every waking minute trying to make the Gators their top rival. Everything they do, between the obscene chant, F the Gators, a fan site on Twitter made a homophobic slur against them. How do you think Billy Donovan is going to tell his players to handle all of this?
Well, I don't think the players are going to buy into all this hype that they're trying to build around this game. Coach Donovan's going to be preaching this to them. They just want it to be a circus. They want to make the game a circus. They want to make the whole media a circus. I mean, that's what's going to happen the first 15 of the NCAA tournament. That's what we're geared, that's what everybody wants to see. So everybody else is going to want them. Everybody's not a Florida fan is going to be behind Florida Gulf Coast. But I think the guys are going to be prepared. I don't think they're going to buy into any of the hype. They're not watching Sports Center all day because that's all you see is talking about the Florida Gulf Coast team. But Coach Donovan's definitely going to have them away from all the distractions. They're going to be up in their hotel rooms, not watching Sports Center, focus into what they have to do. And they're not going to feed into all the hype that Florida Gulf Coast and all the media is trying to build around this game. They're going to focus on the X's and O's and come prepared to play that day and give everything they got. If we play our best ball, I don't see Florida Gulf Coast being able to hang with us.
All right, well, now we'll get to those X's and O's in a minute, but first, what do you make of everything Florida Gulf Coast is doing? I know you said the players aren't going to really buy into everything, but what do you personally think?
Well, Florida, this is the first time that school has ever been in a situation like this. The media is building this up to be a huge game, and everybody else wants, everybody loves the Cinderella story and come tournament time. But I think that once it comes to game time, that you can expect to see all that go out the window. You'll see two teams going at it. But in the meanwhile, coach is going to have those guys prepared mentally and not feeding into all the hype that the media is building around it.
The Eagles love to run up and down the floor and wear teams out with their run and gun type offense. It all starts with Brett Comer. First, how do you think Florida's going to defend Comer? How much help do you think Scotty Wilbekin's going to need on him?
I think Scotty is going to end up guarding the whole game. I think the strategy is going to be to pressure him full court and obviously help off of him a lot. But you saw in the San Diego State game, they're on the ball. Their pick and roll defense was not very good in that game. I think our pick and roll defense is much better. They won't be running to the rim, making all these lots. But Dunk City won't have 7 or 8 dunks on us. I can guarantee you that. But Scotty's going to have his hands full definitely with Comer. He's a good player and can make things happen. So,
Florida Gulf Coast is especially deadly in transition. How much do you think that could impact Florida's ball movement on offense, knowing that an even slightly off-target pass could turn into a SportsCenter top 10 dunk? Or do you think it will impact Florida's ball movement?
I don't think it could impact our ball movement. I think that we penetrate, we take care of the ball, and obviously Florida Gulf Coast likes to get out in passing lanes and really pressure the ball on defense. But the way we run our offense, mostly it's pick and roll offense, throwbacks, and there's really not a lot of all the passes we make that are people who are open. So I don't really think it's going to affect our ball movement that much.
Do you think Florida might give FGCU a taste of their own medicine and try to push the tempo even more than they do, or do you think Florida's going to stick with their slow and steady offense?
I definitely think any chance we can get to look to run, to get an easy bucket in transition, they're going to look to do that. I think in the half court, that obviously you want to slow it down, but if Florida Gulf Coast wants to make it a track meet, make one pass and jack up a shot, and here we come back down the other end, then I think that I think that they think that might be an advantage to them, but I think it's an advantage to us because we have better horses out there.
Say Florida wins and they make the Elite Eight. First, say Kansas beats Michigan, so Florida has to play Kansas. They're the #1 overall seed in the region, and they have a very good inside presence in Jeff Withey. Do you expect Florida to shoot more threes against Kansas, or do you expect Patrick Young to go right at Withey?
I think it's important. Jeff Withey's definitely a good player, great shot blocker. I think it's important, though, early in the game to try to still get the ball inside and get some post-ups on him, especially go out and try to get into foul trouble. But I do think that with all the help that he comes off the ball, especially with Merce posting up, he's helping off Pat. I think we'll be able to find open shooters and get a lot of opportunities for three.
On the other side of the ball, how do you expect Florida to fare against Ben McLemore?
McLemore's a really good player. I mean, he'll probably draft the top 5 overall this year. But it's definitely going to be a team effort with him. I don't see Scotty sticking on the whole game. I know Kenny Boynton's probably going to guard him a lot. Maybe try and put Woody Get on him for a little bit. He's a long-range guard that can do a lot of things. So it's going to be a team effort mostly.
Okay, now let's say Michigan beats Kansas in a big upset, and Florida beats Florida Gulf Coast, and Florida plays Michigan in the Elite Eight. Should that happen, Florida's going to face a team that at one point was among the best in the country, but then completely fell apart. But Trey Burke is still one of the best all-around players in the country. How much help do you think Scotty Wilbekin, who is a very good defensive player, is going to need to stop him?
It's definitely going to be a good matchup. Wilbekin's a great on-the-ball defender. Trey Burke is a great one-on-one player, great point guard. Michigan is still a very good team. They're still one of the best teams in the country, if you ask me. They have a very dangerous bunch. But I think it does work to our advantage if we see them in that matchup that our best defender is at our point guard position. So
Michigan can shoot threes very well, too. Do you think that the game could turn into a shootout, or do you think that there's going to be a lot of defense involved?
I think anytime you play basketball against another team, you want to stop them, and that's our whole focus as a team. I think we're one of the best defensive teams in the country. But so you hope a team doesn't score 100 points. You want to keep teams under 70 if you can, and if you can make shots like that, then that's great. But I wouldn't say it would be in the hundreds. I'd definitely say that game would be a little more high scoring, probably in the 80s. But definitely it would be a fun matchup to see.
Okay, prediction time. First, Florida Gulf Coast. Okay, a lot of talking by the Eagles. Florida's not saying anything bad. They're just pretty much taking it, and I'm sure Billy Donovan's using it as motivation in some way. But what do you think happens on the court?
I think first half, I think these guys are going to come out there ready to go. I think that they're going to know that Florida Gulf Coast is going to come out with a bunch of energy, a bunch of confidence, and we just got to shut that confidence down early because we let them think they can play with us in the first half. You know, anything can happen that second half. So I think that we're going to come out, lock them up defensively, and cruise to a victory by double digits.
Okay, now first we're going to pretend Kansas wins. And Florida plays Kansas in the Elite Eight. And, of course, Florida wins to get there. Florida-Kansas for a trip to the Final Four. Who wins?
I got Florida going to my Final Four. Kansas is a very, they're a really good team, well-coached squad. So that'll be a tough matchup.
How about Michigan wins?
Great matchup. Trey Bird, Tim Hardaway Jr. We'd see some really good guard play in that game. And definitely a lot of threes, a lot of a fast-paced, up-tempo game. But I would say Florida would beat them.
Okay, Adam, thanks a lot. I appreciate you coming on and talk to me.
All right, not a problem, man.
Should Florida make the Final Four, we will do another version of the AA review then. For now, I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
I hope I get to talk to you soon then.